Beamy, 28 years old, work as a junior logistics coordinator for a mid-sized shipping firm. It is a job that sounds boring. Because it is boring, spend my days staring at spreadsheets and tracking numbers on a dual monitor setup. Live alone in a one-bedroom apartment on the edge of the city. The apartment is clean but sterile, beige walls, gray carpet that has seen better days, a single leather armchair that I found at an estate sale. My life is quiet, predictable, safe. I am not unhappy. But I am definitely not happy just existing in the gray zone of modern adulthood. Wake up at 6 in the morning, every day, brew black coffee, shower, drive 30 minutes to the office park, sit in the cubicle. Go home, gym, video games, or reading, sleep. Repeat. This has been the routine for 3 years since my last serious relationship ended. Her name was Vanessa. We were together for 2 years. It ended not with a bang, but a whimper. She said I was emotionally distant. I said she was impossible to please. We were probably both right. Since then I have opted out of the dating market, deleted the app, stopped going to bars, with the intention of meeting women, focused on saving money and keeping my stress levels low. It is a peaceful existence. But sometimes the silence in the apartment gets loud. Enter the workplace dynamic. Our office has an open floor plan because some executive read a book about collaboration in 2010. It mostly just means you can hear everyone chewing their lunch. There is a break room with a coffee machine that tastes like burnt rubber and despair. This is where the social life of the company happens. There is a group of younger employees who hang out there. I am on the periphery of this group, not quite inside the circle, but close enough to hear the conversation. Among them is a woman named Alina, 26 years old, works in marketing. She is undeniably attractive, dark hair usually tied back in a messy bun, sharp glasses, dresses in that style that is professional but edgy. She is smart, and she knows it. Very vocal about her opinions, political, social, cultural. She has a quote from a famous feminist author pinned to her cubicle wall. I usually keep my head down and just nod when she talks. It is easier than engaging. Today is Wednesday, hump day. The energy in the office is low. I go to the break room to get my third cup of terrible coffee. Alina is there with two other female colleagues, Sarah and Jessica, and one male colleague named Marcus. Marcus is a good guy, soft-spoken, always trying to be an ally, always apologizing for things he did not do. I nod at them and go to the machine. They are in the middle of a heated conversation, or rather Alina is venting, and the others are nodding. She is talking about her date from the previous night. I try to tune it out, but the room is small. She is agitated, pacing slightly while holding her mug. I just do not understand it. Alina says loudly, "He seemed perfect on paper. We matched, we had good banter, we met up." Sarah asks what went wrong. "He was just so passive," Alina exclaims. "I had to carry the whole conversation. I had to suggest the appetizers. I had to initiate the second drink. And then at the end of the night, he just hugged me, a side hug, and said, 'Let's do this again sometime,' with zero enthusiasm." "Men are just lazy these days," Jessica adds. "It is not even laziness," Alina says, leaning against the counter. "It is like they have checked out. They do not pursue anymore. They do not try to impress. It is like they expect us to do all the emotional labor before we even hold hands." Marcus looks uncomfortable. "Maybe he was just shy," Marcus suggests weakly. Alina shoots him a look. "Shy is one thing, Marcus. This is systemic. It is every guy I go out with lately. They are physically present, but mentally they are just gone. They have no drive." I am stirring my coffee, trying to be invisible. I really just want to go back to my spreadsheet, but then Alina turns her gaze toward me. I freeze. "Julian," she says. I look up. "You are a guy." "You are single, right?" I nod slowly. "Yes." "Explain it to me then. Why have men lost interest? Why is dating like pulling teeth now? Why do none of you seem to want to build anything real?" The room goes quiet. Sarah and Jessica are looking at me. Marcus looks relieved the heat is off him. Alina looks expectant, challenging. She wants a debate. She wants me to say something stupid so she can dismantle it. I take a sip of the hot coffee. It burns my tongue slightly. I have two choices. Choice A, make a joke, shrug, walk away. Choice B, tell the truth. Usually I pick choice A. It keeps the peace. It keeps my life simple. But today I am tired. I slept poorly. The spreadsheets are endless, and I am tired of being told that my existence is the problem. I look Alina in the eye. She has intense eyes, intelligent eyes. "Do you want the polite answer or the real answer?" I ask. Alina blinks. She was expecting defensiveness. I want the real answer, she says. Please enlighten me. I set my mug down on the counter. I lean back against the refrigerator. It is not that men have lost interest in women, I say quietly. We love women, we want companionship just as much as you do. Then what is it? She interrupts. We have lost interest in the interview process, I say. Silence in the room. Alina frowns. The interview process? Yes. Dating used to be a courtship, a dance. Now it feels like a high-stakes job interview where we are underqualified and the job description keeps changing. I see Marcus nod slightly out of the corner of my eye. I continue. You talk about the guy last night being passive. You said you had to carry the conversation. Exactly, Alina says. It was exhausting. Imagine how he felt, I say. He probably walked in there terrified. He knows that one wrong sentence, one bad joke, one awkward look, and he is going to be screenshotted and sent to a group chat to be mocked. Alina crosses her arms. That is paranoid. Is it? I ask. How many screenshots of bad dating profiles are on your phone right now? She does not answer. I press on. We are tired, Alina. We are tired of trying to be everything at once. We have to be sensitive but dominant. We have to be successful but not obsessed with work. We have to be sexually aggressive but respectful of boundaries. It is a minefield, and the penalty for stepping on a mine is not just rejection anymore. It is social stigma. It is being labeled a creep or a toxic male just for misreading a signal. Sarah looks down at her shoes. Jessica is frowning. Alina looks ready to argue, but I am on a roll now. So what you see as passivity is actually self-preservation. That guy gave you a side hug because he was terrified that if he went for a kiss and you pulled away, he would be the villain of your story. He let you lead the conversation because he was afraid of dominating it and being called a mansplainer. We have been told for 10 years to step back, to shut up, to check our privilege. So we did, we stepped back. And now you are asking why we are not chasing you. I pick up my coffee cup again. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot tell men that their natural instincts are dangerous and toxic and then complain when they become passive and hesitant. I look at her one last time. We have not lost interest in love. We have lost interest in the game because the rules are rigged and we are tired of losing. The silence in the break room is heavy. It is thick enough to cut with a knife. Alina is staring at me. Her mouth is slightly open. She looks like she is processing a foreign language. Marcus looks like he wants to give me a standing ovation but is too scared to move. I have to get back to work, I say. I walk out of the break room. My heart is pounding. I hate conflict. I hate speeches. I go back to my desk and put my headphones on. I stare at the spreadsheet, but the numbers are blurring. Did I go too far? Probably. I expect a call from human resources. Or at least a very icy atmosphere for the next few weeks. I focus on my work. Hours pass. Lunchtime comes and goes. I eat a sandwich at my desk because I do not want to see anyone. At 4 in the afternoon, I get an email. It is from Alina. Subject line, coffee. I hesitate. Is this the ambush? Is this where she yells at me in private? I open the email. Body text. That was a lot, but I think I needed to hear it. Can we talk after work? There's a bar down the street. First round is on me. I stare at the screen. I should say no. I should go home to my gray apartment and my silence, but my curiosity gets the better of me. I reply, okay. 5:30, the rest of the workday crawls by. At 5:30, I pack up my bag. I walk out of the building. Alina is waiting by the entrance. She has her coat pulled tight around her. She looks different than she did in the break room. Less armored, less confident. Hey, she says. Hey, I reply. The place is called the Rusty Anchor. It is a dive, but it is quiet, she says. I know it, I say. We walk in silence. It is awkward. The autumn wind is cold. We get to the bar and find a booth in the back. It is dark and smells like wood polish and old beer. Alina goes to the bar and buys 2 beers. She comes back and slides one to me. Thanks, I say. She takes a long sip of hers. So, she starts. So, I echo, you really think we're that scary? She asks. Her voice is not accusatory. It sounds genuinely curious, almost sad. It is not about being scary, I say. It is about the cost of failure. Explain, she says. I take a breath. Look at my father's generation. If he asked a woman out and she said no, his ego was bruised for a day. That was it. No one knew except him and her. Now, everything is public, everything is content. Dating apps treat people like products in a catalog. If I am not 6 feet tall and making six figures, I am swiped left on before I even get a chance to speak. That is just the apps, though, Alina says. Real life is different. Is it? I ask. You work in marketing, you know how branding works. Men have been branded as potential threats until proven otherwise. Well, statistics do not lie, Alina says softly. Women have reasons to be careful. I know, I say. I am not denying that. I know the world is dangerous for women. I have a sister. I worry about her. But you have to understand the collateral damage of that narrative. Good men, decent, boring, normal guys, we feel like we are guilty until proven innocent, so we stop engaging. It is safer to be alone than to be seen as a predator. Alina traces the rim of her glass with her finger. I never thought about it like that, she admits. I always just thought, if he likes me, he will pursue me. If he is brave, he will step up. We want to, I say, but we need a green light, a big, bright green light. We cannot read minds, she looks at me. You are very articulate for a logistics coordinator, she says with a small smile. I read a lot, I say, and I have had a lot of time to think. Why are you single, Julian? She asks. Direct question. I told you, risk management. That is a cop-out. Okay, I am single because I got tired of the performance. I got tired of feeling like I was an accessory to someone else's Instagram life. Alina winces. That specific comment feels personal. It is not about you, it is just the culture. We talk for another hour. The tension melts away. We discover we have things in common. We both hate the open office plan. We both like classic rock. We both think the boss, Mr. Henderson, wears a toupee. It is nice. Refreshing. For the first time in years, I am talking to a woman without trying to impress her. I am just being me, and she is listening. Really listening, not waiting for her turn to speak, not checking her phone. I think, Alina says after her second beer, that I have been unfair. How so? I have been judging men based on a standard that does not exist anymore. I want the old-school romance, the flowers, the pursuit, the protection, but I also want modern independence and zero judgment. I want to have my cake and eat it too. I smile. That is a very human desire. It is selfish, she corrects. I realized today, after what you said, I was angry at that guy last night for respecting the boundaries I spent years telling men to respect. This is a breakthrough. I can see the gears turning in her head. So what do we do, she asks. How do we fix it? I do not think we can fix society, I say. We can only fix how we interact with each other. Okay, she says. So interact with me, real talk, no filters. What do you mean? I mean, let's hang out as friends or whatever this is, no pressure, no dating script, just two people trying to figure it out. I look at her, she is genuine. She is reaching out, it is a risk, but looking at her hopeful expression, the grayness of my life feels a little less permanent. Okay, I say, I can do that. We leave the bar around 8, walk to the parking lot. Awkward moment where a hug would happen, she looks at me. I am going to hug you, she announces, consensually and enthusiastically. I laugh, permission granted. She hugs me. She smells like vanilla and old books. It is a nice hug, firm. Real, see you at work, Julian, she says. See you, Alina. I drive home. The apartment feels a little less empty. I sleep better that night than I have in months. Part 2, the slow burn weeks go by. Alina and I start having lunch together, not every day but often enough that people notice. Marcus raises an eyebrow at me one day. You and the firebrand, he whispers. We are just friends, I say. Careful, man. She will eat you alive. She is actually pretty cool when she is not performing for an audience, I say, and it is true. Away from the other girls, Alina is funny. She is nerdy. She likes sci-fi novels and collects vintage vinyl records. We start a routine. Friday nights at the Rusty Anchor, we deconstruct the week, we debate everything. Politics, movies, philosophy. We disagree on a lot. She is still very liberal. I am more centrist, maybe leaning conservative on some things, but we never fight. We argue, but it is respectful. It is stimulating. I realize I missed this. Intellectual intimacy. One night, about 2 months in, we are at her apartment. She invited me over to listen to a rare record she found. Her apartment is the opposite of mine. Cluttered, colorful, plants everywhere, smells like incense. We are sitting on the floor drinking wine. The record is playing, some obscure jazz from the 60s. Julian, she says, yeah, why haven't you made a move? I freeze. The question hangs in the air. I look at her. She is sitting cross-legged, wearing an oversized sweater. She looks beautiful. I thought we were friends, I say. I did not want to ruin the dynamic. We are friends, she says, but we are also more than that. Right, I put my glass down. Alina, I like you, you know I like you. But I am terrified. Of what? Of falling back into the trap. Of this becoming a relationship with all the expectations and the drama. Right now this is perfect. We are honest. We are real. If we start dating, does the mask come back on? She scoots closer to me. It does not have to, she says softly. We make the rules, remember. We can reject the script. Can we? I ask. Biology is strong, culture is strong. We are stronger, she says. She reaches out and takes my hand. Her skin is warm. Kiss me, Julian. If it feels like a performance, we stop. If it feels real, we keep going. I look at her lips, I look at her eyes, I lean in, I kiss her. It does not feel like a performance, it feels like coming home. We do not sleep together that night. We just make out like teenagers for an hour, then we talk about our fears. She admits she is scared that I will become distant. I admit I am scared she will become demanding. We lay it all out on the table. Radical honesty. It is terrifying and liberating. Part 3, the test 6 months later. We are officially a couple. It has not been easy. We have had fights. Real fights about money, about time, about whose turn it is to do the dishes. But we handle it differently than I did with Vanessa. When Alina gets mad, I do not shut down. I ask her, are you venting or do you want a solution? When I get quiet, she does not accuse me of not caring. She asks, do you need space or do you need comfort? We are learning the language of each other. But the world outside is still there, and it wants to interfere. We get invited to a dinner party by one of Alina's old college friends. Sienna is like Alina used to be, but amplified, wealthy, loud, very opinionated. She lives in a loft downtown. I am nervous about going. You do not have to go, Alina says as we are getting dressed. No, I want to. She is your friend. I want to make the effort. Alina fixes my collar. Just ignore her if she gets too intense. She means well, but she lives in an echo chamber. We arrive at the party. It is a room full of artsy types. Craft cocktails, tiny food on slate plates. Sienna corners us immediately. Alina, you made it, she shrieks. She hugs Alina, then looks at me with skeptical eyes. And this is the mystery man. Julian, hi Sienna, I say, offering a hand. She takes it limply. I heard you work in shipping, she says, making it sound like waste management. Logistics, I say, it keeps the world moving. How quaint, she says. The night progresses. I am on my best behavior. I make polite conversation. I laugh at jokes that are not funny. Alina is sticking close to me, squeezing my hand occasionally. She knows this is not my scene. After dinner, the conversation turns to politics, specifically gender politics. Sienna starts holding court. It is just impossible to find a decent man in this city, she proclaims. They are all either children or abusers. There is no middle ground, the guests nod. A few of the men in the room look at their shoes, ashamed to exist. Sienna turns to Alina. But you got lucky, right, Alina? You found one of the safe ones. The way she says safe sounds like an insult, like neutered. Alina stiffens. Julian is great, she says firmly. Oh, I am sure he is sweet, Sienna says, swirling her wine, but does he get it? Does he understand the struggle, or is he just another guy skating by on male privilege while you do all the heavy lifting? The room goes quiet. Everyone is looking at me, waiting for me to apologize. Waiting for me to bow my head. I feel the anger rising, not the hot, explosive anger, the cold, calm anger, but before I can speak, Alina stands up. The chair scrapes loudly against the floor. "Stop it, Sienna," Alina says. Sienna blinks. "Excuse me, stop talking about him like he is a project or a pet. He is a man, a good man." "I was just joking," Sienna says defensively. "God, you used to have a sense of humor." "It is not funny," Alina says. Her voice is shaking slightly, but she is loud. "You sit here complaining that there are no good men, but the moment a man walks in who is respectful and kind, you try to belittle him. You try to make him feel small so you can feel superior. That is why you are single, Sienna, not because men are broken, but because you are mean." Total silence, deathly silence. Sienna's mouth is gaping like a fish. Alina grabs her purse. "Come on, Julian, we are leaving." I stand up, I look at Sienna. "Thank you for the dinner," I say politely. We walk out. We get into the elevator. The doors close. Alina lets out a huge breath and slumps against the wall. "Oh my God," she whispers. "I cannot believe I said that." I look at her. My heart is full. "That was," I start. "I know. I ruined the party. That was the sexiest thing I have ever seen," I say. She looks up, surprised. "Really? You stood up for me in front of your tribe." "They are not my tribe," she says. "You are my tribe." I pull her into a hug. I kiss the top of her head. "Let's go get a burger," I say. "I am starving and that tiny food was a joke." "God, yes," she says. "Double cheeseburger." Immediately. Part 4, the realization a year passes. We move in together. Not into my gray apartment, not into her cluttered one. We get a new place, 2 bedrooms, one for sleeping, one for an office/studio. We decorate it together, a mix of my minimalism and her chaos. It works. It feels like a home. One Sunday morning, we are sitting on the balcony drinking coffee, real coffee made with a French press. Alina is reading the news on her tablet. She sighs. "What is it?" I ask. "Another article about the loneliness epidemic among men," she says. "And another response article blaming men for not going to therapy." She puts the tablet down. "It makes me sad," she says. "What does? That so many people are missing out on this," she gestures between us, "because they are too busy fighting a war that does not exist." "The war exists," I say. "But it is not between men and women." "Who is it between?" "It is between reality and expectations. We have been sold a lie, Alina. Men were told that if they provided, they would be loved. Women were told that if they achieved, they would be happy. Both were lies. We are all just people, flawed, scared, lonely people. Once you realize that your partner is not an enemy combatant, but just another soldier in the same trench, everything changes." Alina smiles. "You should write that down." "Maybe I will." Part 5. The proposal be me 30 years old now logistics manager, got a promotion, life is good not perfect. Alina lost her job and was depressed for 3 months. I carried the financial load without complaining. I got sick with a bad flu and was a baby for a week. She took care of me without rolling her eyes. Reciprocity. That is the secret word. I decide it is time. I do not do a flash mob. I do not hire a photographer. I do not put it on TikTok. We are hiking in a state park. It is autumn again. The leaves are gold and red. We reach a clearing overlooking a lake. No one else is around, just the wind and the trees. I stop walking. "Hey," I say. Alina turns around. Her cheeks are flushed from the cold. "What?" I reach into my pocket. I take out a simple ring, gold band, small diamond, classic. I do not kneel. I just stand there holding it out. "I do not want to interview anymore," I say. "I want the job permanently." Alina looks at the ring. She looks at me, her eyes fill with tears. "Is the benefits package good?" she asks, her voice cracking. "Lifetime supply of dad jokes, unlimited hugs, and someone to kill the spiders." "Sold," she whispers. I slide the ring on her finger. It fits, we hug. It is quiet. It is private. It is ours. Part 6. The conclusion be me 32 years old married for 1 year. Alina is pregnant with our first child, a boy. We are terrified. We talk about how we are going to raise him. In a world that tells him he is toxic from birth, in a world that tells girls they are victims from birth, we will teach him the truth, Alina says one night, rubbing her belly. Which is, that respect is not a transaction, that vulnerability is strength, and that women are not mysteries to be solved but people to be known. I nod. And we will teach him that he is enough, I add, just as he is. He does not have to conquer the world to be worthy of love. I think back to that day in the break room 4 years ago, when a simple question changed the trajectory of my life. If I had stayed silent, if I had made a joke, I would still be in that gray apartment, alone, safe, and empty. Sometimes you have to break the script. Sometimes you have to tell the uncomfortable truth. Men have not lost interest. We just need to know that it is safe to care again. And when we find a woman who makes it safe, we will move mountains for her. Alina is asleep next to me on the sofa, her head on my shoulder. The house is quiet, but it is a good quiet, a full quiet. I look at the ceiling. I am not just a logistics manager. I am a husband, soon to be a father. I am a man, and for the first time in a long time, I am happy. Bottom line, don't believe the internet war. Touch grass, speak your truth, find someone who listens. We are all in this together. End of story.